Hi, welcome to Chef Tips UK, Chef Ricky here, and today we're going to be doing a giant Mars bar. Really simple. All we're going to do is you need about 30 Mars bars. We're going to put them all in a little tray and then giant Mars bar. Easy. No? Oh, you want me to actually make a Mars bar? Right, let's get cracking then. I say giant, this is the size we're going to go for. It's a £2 loaf tin. First thing, I've laid up about 5 sheets of cling film here just to give it a bit more strength, and all we're going to do is literally drop that in there and layer it. As simple as that. It will just make getting it out so much easier. I don't think you'll get it out if you don't do it. It don't matter about all the creases and stuff because it's going to be coated in chocolate anyway, but that is the first step. So this is going to be the top. The bottom here is going to be the top. So I'm going to do a little thin layer of ganache, chocolate ganache. I'm going to do a caramel, and then I'm going to do chocolate nougat. So first thing. So with chocolate ganache, you kind of want to use equal quantities of chocolate and cream. So I've got like 50 millilitres of cream. I'm going to use 50 grams of chocolate. So you gauge it by that. If you want to do loads, say like 500 millilitres of cream, you do 500 grams of chocolate. And all we're going to do is add that cream to a pan on the heat. It's not going to take long to warm up that heat, because obviously there's only a little bit. That's what I mean. It's just going to be a little thin layer. And then we're just going to bring this up to the boil. And we're going to stir in the chocolate. Beautiful ganache. Right, so this cream is literally took about 30 seconds to come up to the boil. So all we're going to do, take it off the heat, grab it in there, whack the chocolate in, and then literally just stir. I'm using milk chocolate here. Obviously most of the time if you do a ganache you would sort of use dark chocolate. So once it's done you should have this sort of nice, thick, chocolatey layer. All we're going to do is just pour that into there. It's just a little something extra I need to do. So I don't know if you can try and get a good look at that. Just layered that chocolate in there. And then all we're going to do is leave that to cool, and then we're just going to bang it in the freezer just to firm it up. But whilst that's cooling, I'll talk about the caramel. Now, I've tried loads of different caramel recipes. The best one I've ever tried is when you just get a tin of condensed milk, boil it for 6 hours, and it is the nicest tasting caramel you'll ever try. So, you can either use your own caramel recipe, or you can boil condensed milk for 6 hours in the tin. Or, as I've recently discovered, you can buy it already cooked into caramel. And this is, you might look at this and think, oh that's a bit of a cheat, that is a bit of a cheat way. But I actually compared it, I cooked my own and I tasted this, and that tasted just as good, if not better. So what's the point in waiting 6 hours for a tin to boil when you can just buy it and it's just as good? So I'm just going to use this. Obviously you can use your own caramel recipe if you want, but I think that tastes better than any caramel recipe you'll try. Right, so I've got my ganache here. This is cooled down a bit. I'm going to just bang that quickly in the freezer for about 20 minutes. So, whilst the ganache is in the freezer, I mean, the caramel is literally the easiest layer. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's nice, it's thick, it's really tasty. I mean, I don't know if you've had the pleasure of trying it, but it's so nice. Like I say, if you do want to make your own, just like this, get a normal can of condensed milk, and just boil it for 6 hours. One thing I would say, if you are going to do that, just after you've boiled it for 6 hours, refresh it down in some cold water just to cool them down slightly. Otherwise the tin can like explode or something. You don't want that, obviously. So, but the one thing about when you cook your own is opening it up and trying it whilst it's still warm. The nicest thing you will ever try. Unless you don't like caramel, obviously, and then you'll probably find it revolting, but I think it's the nicest thing I've ever tried. Slap back that between a couple of biscuits. Oh, that is heaven. I don't care what anyone says. And apparently it's Slim and World friendly. It's not. It's really not. So all I'm doing is just getting this caramel together. I've got 2 tins here. These are 397 gram tins. I might not need it all. I'm hoping I don't need it all. I think the cameraman is proper eyeing it up right now. I've just seen her. I've just caught her with the corner of my eye. She's proper wanting to get a spoon in. She's got a spoon in her hand ready. She's got a spoon in her hand ready. Women, eh? Right, so I've just took this out of the freezer. It's been there for about 20 minutes. See, it's got nice and firm. So now what we're going to do is spread a good amount of this caramel onto it. So I'm literally just spooning it in. I don't want massive amounts, you know, I want to keep it quite original to an actual Mars bar. It's mainly chocolate nougat, isn't it? But I do want probably a slightly little bit more than on an original Mars bar, as I do like my caramel, me. I think another spoon, I think probably 1 tub would probably do this. 1 tin even. You know, literally, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, I'm just literally spooning it in with a spoon. Just like that. Yeah, you would look at that. Lovely. So that's just going to go in the freezer. Right, so now the chocolate nougat. The trickiest part of the recipe by far. Right, I've got a saucepan here and I'm just going to measure everything we need for the... We're basically sort of making an Italian meringue flavoured with chocolate. That's basically what it is. I'm just going to get my scales here and I'm going to measure everything into the saucepan and then do it. I'm going to whack them on. So, 150 grams of sugar. And literally just place it in until it says 150. Simple as. There we go, 150. 150 grams of glucose syrup. Most supermarkets sell these now. It's not that hard to get hold of. It used to be really hard to get hold of. It's pretty easy to get hold of. Unfortunately, it comes in 140 gram packets. And we need 150 grams. So, I'm going to work out which one I've got open. This one's already open, so I'm just going to... No. This one's already open. We'll definitely edit that bit out. So now what I'm going to do, it should take most of this. I might even just take the top off, to be fair, because I know I need all of it. So just squirt in. I've not even readjusted the scales. I'm just going to squirt it in until I've got 300 grams. And that'll be, I know I measured 150 sugar, another 150 of glucose, so that's 300 grams. I'm good at maths and cooking. What are the chances of that? Right, so once we've got 150 grams of glucose in there, we're going to go 75 grams of honey. Once again, I'm not going to readjust the scales, I'm just going to do, it says 375. So it's quite a nice recipe, this is. I tried it out the other week, and it worked out really nicely. Tasted just like the inside of a Mars bar, kind of what we're going for, so So yeah, 75 grams of honey. Then all we need is 75 millilitres of water. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reset this, change it to millilitres. Slowly pour it in till I get to 75. That's a little bit over, 76, but I'm sure that extra millilitre ain't going to make too much difference. So then all we're going to do is add this to the heat, just on low, and this is where the fun starts. Right, so what we want to do with this is we want to bring it up to the boil. We don't really want to stir it or anything, but we want it 130 degrees. So ideally you'd want to use a sugar thermometer, but I ain't got one. So I've just got a standard food probe. This will do the job. I'm going to do a little bit of, I've already tested it out. I'm just going to bring my board over here and just rest it in there. But all we're going to do is just bring it up to the boil first, let everything come together, and then once it's sort of like all nice and syrupy, we're going to get that probe in. 130 degrees is the one we want. So all you want to do is just give it a little swirl round, try not to stir it, but just get the saucepan. I'm using a tea towel here because it's a metal handled one, and obviously the handles will get hot, and you just literally just give it a little like shake, a little swirl. And then as soon as it comes to the boil, we're just going to turn it down low and cook it until it's on 130. Whilst that's coming up, I'll talk about this. You can use an electric hand whisk if you want. You don't want to be whisking this by hand. If you've got a stand-up whisk like this, it's even better. It's so much easier. I've got 3 egg whites here. I'm just going to put into this, and we're just going to whisk them up. And then, because what you need to do is, once this is at 130, slowly pour into here. But we don't want to do the eggs yet. I'm going to wait till this is at about 120. Then I'm going to whisk the eggs. That's going to get to 130. I'm going to take it off the heat, because you want to leave it about 5 minutes before you pour it into the eggs. So yeah. Right, so if you're getting here, this has come to the boil. I'm going to turn that down just slightly, sort of like a medium-low, medium-ish heat. And I've worked out this really nice trick with my probe. And turn it on. And all I'm going to do is rest it like that into the syrup. Who needs a sugar thermometer? I don't. I can use a probe. And I can, obviously I've just got to get down here. No problem for me, with how nimble I am. I mean, that's going really nice. It's on 105, 106. That's cooking really quick. That's how quick it's going to cook. So, we're just going to be careful of this. We don't want to take it over 130. So, I'm guessing this will take about 5 minutes. So, we'll come back when this is on about 120, we'll start these eggs, and yeah. Right, so this has come up to 130 really quick. So I'm just going to take that off, let it rest. I've got my 3 egg whites here. They're just going to go in here. And I'm literally just going to whisk them up. Just want to whisk these so they're nice and stiff. Great way of testing, you can turn the bowl over and it won't rip down on you. Test it over your head, obviously. Right, so it's been whisking for about 5 minutes. As you can see, that ain't going anywhere. So it's time to add the meringue stock to it now. So I'm going to put that back on. Then we're just going to slowly drizzle this into the mixture. I don't know if you can hear that. Slowly drizzle it into the mixture. And what this will do, it will actually cook the eggs. Obviously in a minute, the eggs are raw. This will actually cook the eggs. So I'm just slowly pouring it in. and it's gone really nice and glossy. I'll show you once I've poured it all in. Like I said, this is basically an Italian meringue. So once all that syrup's in there, this is why you kind of want to get one of these. You're going to leave that on till it's cooled down. So obviously you want it to be on for about 20 minutes really. So if you feel that, the bowl feels very warm, so we've just put stock syrup at 130 degrees into it. So we're going to leave this cool down, whisking constantly whilst it's cooling, and we're going to start with the chocolate. So what we're going to do is add some chocolate to it. Right, so while that's cooling down, all we're going to do is we've got some water that's just coming to the boil here. We're going to turn it down, get a metal bowl on it. We're just going to melt down. We've got 90 grams of chocolate here. Once this is cooled, I can feel it now, it's getting quite cooler. I'm going to add that to it. Right, so, really hard to hear me with this on, isn't it? I'll turn this gas on. This has been on for about a minute. Just turn the gas off. Obviously the water's still warm. And as you can see, look, a few little lumps of chocolate there. And all we're going to do, that's done. That easy. Right, so the chocolate's cooled down a bit. The meringue, I mean, look at that. Looking beautiful, that's cooled down a bit. So all we're going to do now is just spoon this chocolate into here, into the meringue. And all we're going to do is gently fold it into the mixture. Should have this really nice, light, airy mixture. Right, so once the chocolate's all incorporated in, 20 grams of cocoa powder. Just going to get that in there. Got a bit of washing up for the cameraman to do. I'm not even going to tell you what she's just done because it's too rude. So, like with the chocolate, we're just going to gently fold in this cocoa powder, and then that's the nougat done. Right, so once you've incorporated all that cocoa powder, you should end up looking with something that resembles the inside of a Mars bar. So I've got the starter in my Mars bar. The caramel's starting to firm up a little bit. I'm just going to wash my hands because they're covered in nougat at the minute. Because of how much sugar's in this won't completely freeze anyway. But then all we're going to do is take this nougat and just splash it on top. Beautiful. We'll give this a try in a minute as well. So once you've got it all in, just sort of, as best you can, just sort of pat it out. Can see that's pretty much worked spot on. And what we kind of need to do with this now is just we need to let it sort of just air out. So we kind of want to leave it for about 4 to 6 hours, and it just dries the meringue out a little bit, and it gives it a slightly better texture. So we're just going to leave this to dry for about 4 to 6 hours. Happy days. Right, so this Mars bar, as you can see, the nougat's just been left to sort of just dry a little bit at room temperature. It's still got a little bit of wiggle in it, that's at room temperature. So all we're going to do is we're just going to fold in the ends ever so slightly here, and that's just going to go in the freezer. Maybe overnight. I'm going to check it in about 6 hours. I'm going to hope 6 hours in the freezer is enough. We can coat it. Oh! You've caught me! I'm not drinking tea. Just got a couple there. Right, so the Mars bar, let's take a look at it. So it's been in the freezer. I've had it in the freezer overnight. Finished work, come back, and this is it. We'll pop that out, and we'll take a look. As you can see, it's really firm now. It lifted out really easily as well. I'm glad about that. The new guard's stuck to the cling film a little bit, but I shouldn't imagine that'll be a massive problem, to be fair. Right, so the last and final element, chocolate. I don't really know how much I'm going to need because I've kind of not made this before ever. So I've got 400 grams here, but I am going to temper this. So it's milk chocolate, so I'm going to sort of do it to tempering sort of guidelines. I'll explain that when I go through them. I've got 600 grams altogether. I've just got 200 here, because what we're going to do is we're going to heat it to about between 45 and 50 degrees. Then we're going to add that, take it off the heat, add that to it, cool it down till it's about 27, and then heat it back up to 30, and that should be nice and tempered then, really silky and smooth. Right, so I've got my chocolate on here. It's almost melted now. So I've got a different probe now. I'm just going to bang that in there. And all we're going to do is take it up to between 45 and 50. Right, that's it, 46. So I can take that off. Now I'm going to add in the rest of my chocolate. Probe back in. I want to take it down to 27 degrees. Right, so I've encountered a little bit of a problem here. And because of how warm it is in here, it wasn't cooling down very quick. So all I've done is filled the sink up with cold water and just dropped it into there. We're on 28.2 at the minute. So that's, if you make it yourself, to cool it down quicker, put the bowl in cold water. I think I just forgot about that bit. It'd help if I had an air conditioned kitchen as well, but I don't. So we've just got to drop 0.2 of a degrees and we're there. It's not took long, honest. Right, we've hit 27, so we're going to go out of the probe for now, back on the water, and we only want to take this up another 3 degrees. Now, I've not got my water on the heat anymore. I've just left the water to simmer, so the water's still quite warm. We only need it to be at 30 degrees. Right, so that's 30 degrees. Oh no, I've dropped my probe in it. We'll edit that bit out, trust me. Right, so now our chocolate is nice and tempered. See how like ribbony it is? Really silky. Beautiful, that's what we want. So, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of my chocolate covered probe. I'll have that for a treat later. Is this sticky nougat layer. I've been playing with ideas how to get it covered in chocolate today at work. I'm thinking I'm going to coat this layer with chocolate first. I'm going to let that cool, and then I'm going to coat the rest of it with chocolate. So all I'm going to do is take the spoon and just drizzle that on. Just like that. Once that's on, I'm going to get it in the freezer. I want it to cool down as much as possible. And I'm going to try and keep this at 30 degrees because we don't want to lose that temperness. Right, so this chocolate took like about 5 minutes and it's set up nicely in the freezer rather. So now I'm just going to pull this away and dump it on this wire rack I've got here. Just going to take this cling film off. Right, so I've took that cling film layer off. Was a little bit tricky, and I realised I put this the wrong way. So I'm probably going to have it go everywhere. I'm going to do a bit of rearranging. because I don't want to get chocolate all over my nan's kitchen. She'll go mad at me. So then all we're going to do is just drizzle this over the top, and it should just pour down the sides really nicely. Give it a bit of encouragement. I'm hoping the tray catches all the chocolate so our nan don't go mad at us. That would be nice. So I've used 600 grams here, and I think that's just about going to do the job. Right, so once it's covered in chocolate, I've tried to sort of write Mars in there. Hope it works. We're just going to leave it to harden up, and then we'll cut it up and we'll try a bit. Chocolate's nice. Right, so I've got it onto the board. I've got my knife in some hot water here. I've just boiled the kettle and poured it in a jug just to get my knife really nice and hot ready for cutting it. Just want to say, the idea of this, how this all come about, it's not really the sort of stuff I've done on this channel. My little sister Rio was begging me and begging me and begging me to do it, so this is why. I've apparently got to give her a shout out or something, so that's a shout out to my little sister Rio. Chef Rio, maybe she should join me for a video one day. So, moment of truth. Let's cut into it. I've cracked it a bit there, but it's looking quite Mars bar-y. Yeah, just tastes like a really big, really sweet Mars bar. Really nice. Quite happy with that. Right, so if you enjoyed that video, as always, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those who have subscribed to the channel, thank you so much, it's been wonderful. We're now on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Chef Tips UK. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, whatever. And until next time, keep on chefing.